Hey guys, how's it going? Ezekiel the Barber back with another video for you. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. We'll go right into this video today. Normally on this client, I like to do a bald stubble mid fade, and then on the top we kind of like to customize everything. So that's basically what we'll go ahead and do. Right now I'll be using the Wahl 5-star senior clipper that has the flat blade on there, kind of like the fade blade. I like to comb everything out, loosen the hair up, get any debris, any hair that's kind of stuck or anything. Sometimes there'll be gel there, so you just kind of want to loosen everything up. All right. So once again, I'm using the Wahl 5-star senior clipper. I have that lever all the way closed. I'll create my first guideline. Now this is going to be what I call what you call a drop fade. So with this drop fade, I'll kind of insinuate with my guideline where it graduates from the back of his head to the top of his head. You'll kind of see what I'm saying here. Right in the area that I'm at right now, this is called the occipital bone. So there's an occipital bone right in this area. I like to drop my fade right below that occipital bone. So then from here, I'll just continue to set my guideline. Now we'll go up a little higher, creating the fade that I was telling you. So with this guideline, it basically has a drop in it. So I'm creating that drop. So from the side of his head, kind of near his temple, down to that occipital bone area where I told you there's a graduation. So it goes from high to low. So we're just gonna do that all the way around. Just wanna kind of make that all the way even. Have that clipper blade nice and flat. Just kind of want to go nice and smooth. Now before any haircut, you always want to make sure that you sanitize your clippers. I like to use Andis Cool Care. Definitely mandatory to kill any bacteria or germs or viruses, anything like that that may be on the clipper. So once again, we'll just continue with this guideline all the way around, brushing off any hair. Now I'm using my comb to basically take away the hair that I want to keep, and then it exposes the hair that I want to get rid of. So with this comb, I'm basically using this technique. You always want to make sure that you pull that ear, keep it away from the blade, keep that ear out of harm's way. Now here I'm using the blow dryer just to make sure I get any hair or debris or anything right off of my client. Keep everything nice and clean, a really clean palette. Now sometimes you just need the hairpins. In this case, that's what I chose to use. That hair was just kind of getting in my way. So just to kind of hold the ear and be able to set this guideline and still get that hair out of the way, sometimes you need those hair clips. So I'm just using the edge of the clipper just to kind of get in there, brushing all that hair down. All right. Really good guy right here, by the way. Been cutting him for a while. Love this guy. Extremely good energy. Amazing guy. You know who you are. Been cutting him for a long time. So now I chose to go to the Andis Masters clipper. Now this clipper, I'm going to start with the lever all the way open. And that's gonna give you like the equivalent to the one clip. Now whenever I have this clipper all the way closed, the Andis Master, that's basically the equivalent to a 3-0. So that's like a stubble look. It's kind of bald, but not completely bald. A 6-0 would be a completely bald look. Right here, this is just a stubbly bald look, though it does look pretty bald. All right, we'll just do the same thing on both sides. I have that clipper all the way open, setting that guideline. And what I'm doing here is just transitioning from the bald fade into his beard. So right here, I'm using the Babylis 2 guard with the Wahl 5-star senior clipper. We're just gonna open that clipper lever up all the way. And then I'm gonna set my next guideline. Now I'm just doing that really smooth, north, south, east, and west, every direction, just to make sure that I get a really smooth guideline. Hair grows from every direction, so you just wanna make sure that you cut from every direction. Okay, we just wanna do this all the way around, everything nice, smooth, everything even. Right. Now you don't want to dig in too far, especially when you get to the top of the head. Now since this clip is in the way, I just kind of want to move it over a little bit so that I can still get that smooth guideline and everything consistent all the way around. Everything at the top of the head, I'm just going to clipper over comb that kind of ledge that you see hanging out there at the top. I'll just clipper over comb that region. Once again, you just want to make sure you cut in every direction, north, south, east, and west. Hair grows from every direction once again. So this client typically likes to wear his hair in what's called an undercut. So I'll show you more of kind of how that undercut is formed towards the end of the video. Just get a little bit of hair out of there with the blow dryer. All right, so it looks like this guideline is looking pretty clean. So we'll just kind of continue to clean everything up. I'm using my offhand with the comb to kind of keep the hair away that I want to keep, exposing the hair that I want to cut. That's looking pretty clean. A little bit of weight there. I just want to get that off. Looks a little dark. Just kind of want to go over it every direction. Brush it away. All right. And this client has that really good, thick, dark red hair. I like cutting his hair because he has that nice light skin underneath. And then it works right into that dark red hair. Really has a nice transition on his fades. Really fun haircut to do. All right, so we'll just kind of chisel at his haircut a little bit, smooth everything out, take away those hard edges. All right. And as you can see, I'm just going over these guidelines, just making sure everything is nice and smooth. The more I go over it, the smoother it looks. All right, so we're gonna go on to our next guideline. This time I'm just going to be using the lever all the way open. Now the lever all the way closed basically gave us that stubbly, close to bald look. So since we're setting the transition to a fade, we're just gonna open that lever all the way up. I like to set my guidelines anywhere from about 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch apart. We're just gonna do that all the way around. That's what I'm doing now. And I'm just setting that guideline nice and smooth, the lever all the way open, not going too high. Just keeping that same consistency all the way around. While I'm on this side, I just kind of wanted to fade that beard in a little bit more going into his fade. And then right back to the guideline. All right, so there's that guideline. It's almost like a shadow look. Now I just want to make sure that guideline's nice and smooth. Pretty even all the way around. Now, once I have my guideline set, I'm just gonna attack the bottom line, close that lever up, and then just attack right at that bottom line. And that's exactly what you see me doing now. So that's literally my process. All right. So now I'm setting the next guideline. I like to kind of jump right to the next guard of my transition. Sometimes I like to go from that open, clipper all the way to a 1 guard and then go back to the 0 guard. So that's basically what I'm doing now. I grab the 1 guard, set my guideline about anywhere from 1 inch to 1/4 of an inch around, and then I'll go back, close that lever all the way up, and then fade my bottom line out. Now, once I fade my bottom line out, since I did skip over the 0 guard, it would be a good call to kind of use the 0 guard in the same region that I'm using the guard now, just to kind of clean up where I didn't use that guard, just to kind of make sure that you do follow those steps and kind of ensure that wherever that 0 guard was used, you're kind of, clearing up that length of hair as well. Now, while fading, you'll use a combination of opening and closing your clipper. Whatever guard you use, you always want to make sure you just, continue to use that guard in that region. Using the comb to keep that hair out of the way. Since he's going for an undercut, I want that hair kind of overlapping, so that takes away from the undercut if I cut it. So those hard lines that you see there, I just want to attack those bottom lines, transitioning into my fade. Still using that 1 guard. Now, the closer I am to the top of his head, I'll open that guard up. The lower I am to the bottom of, that fade where it's closer to 0 or stubble, I'll close that lever all the way up. And that's essentially how you fade. Now, as you can see, I'm going, all different directions. I see dark spots. I'll attack those spots using whatever guard it is that I use. If I see a dark spot in the region where I used a 2 guard, then I'll go back to that 2 guard. If I see a dark spot in the region where I used a 1 guard, I'll just go back to that 1 guard, or wherever I use the 1 open guard, then I'll go back to that and use a 1 open, just to kind of clean things up all the way around. And that kind of ensures that you get a really nice, consistent, clean fade. All right, just basically using that 1 guard to kind of smooth out that fade. Everything's, definitely getting a lot smoother, as you can see. Always using the comb to keep that top hair out of the way. Or if you need to use a hair clip, that's definitely another option for you. So the guard that I have on now is the 1.5 Wahl guard. So I'm just using that guard closed at the bottom where I use that 1 into the 2. Now, as I go higher, I'm gonna just open my lever and then go a little higher with that guard. Now, not all the way high into where I use the top of that 2, but just, using that to smooth things out. Now, as you can see, I didn't use that 1.5 guard that much because the fade looked pretty clean. There were just a few dark areas that I felt like that 1.5 guard would definitely clean up. So right now I'm using the Babylis trimmers. It's the silver and black edition, the graphite blade. Love this clipper. Really smooth, cleans everything up really good. I got this clipper sharpened and definitely one of my favorite in my arsenal. Excellent clipper, in my opinion. So just cleaning those hairs up, balding out that fade, making that fade pop a little better. Right. So I like to cut to a look. So it looks like we're doing pretty good with the drop fade here. Eventually we're gonna start working on the top. I like to cut in sections. So the next section will be the top. So I just, basically cleaning up that bottom fade. Everything's coming together here, looking pretty good here. So eventually I'll start working on that top. All right. getting any little facial hair. Using the corners, edges of the clippers sometimes. Now you don't want to dig that into the client's skin or anything. Just want to be real soft with any touch. It doesn't require a lot for the clippers to do their job. Just a nice light touch. You don't have to dig in there. All right. Using the edges of the clipper once again. Here I'm basically cleaning up his beard. Just kind of working around, getting the ear area cleaned off. And now I want to polish the fade up a little bit, clean everything up. One of my favorite clippers for that is the Andis Master. Love the fact that they have the cordless Andis Master clipper. The thing that I like about this clipper the most is that, of course, it does have the adjustable lever, but when that clipper is all the way closed, you have basically the equivalent to a 3-0 clip, like a 3-0 metal. And then when that clipper is all the way open, you basically have the equivalent to a 1 guard or a 1 clip. So you kind of get, to satisfy those two lengths all in one clipper, and it provides an excellent fade. So I really love that. Now, once again, I'm just using this clipper to get a little detail work, clean up my fade a little bit, make things, a little bit more smoother. Now, for some reason, different clippers with the different metals and the different ways that they choose to make the blades, they provide a different look when you fade. It just is what it is. And then you factor that in with the type of hair that that individual may have. So that's how you get different looks, So I really love this clipper because across the board, it really achieves a really nice fade. Basically, no matter what type of hair you're cutting, this is gonna really provide you your best option for a clean cut. Now, I don't like the fact that it can't cut through the bulk or as much bulk like, say, a Wahl 5-star clipper. That's why that's my only corded clipper in my arsenal. But in terms of, durability, fading, cleaning up work, definitely an excellent clipper. You can't deny the fact that that does really good work. So here I just basically want to find my guideline. I found that. We're just going to use that guideline all the way around. And the way I find the guideline is, once I find the guideline, I'll take a portion of the guideline and a portion of the hair that needs to be cut, kind of like a half and half thing between my fingers, and I'll just make the lines meet, kind of like what you see there. So I'll grab the hair, portion of the guideline that's cut, hair that hasn't been cut, make it meet, boom, there it is. Guideline, hair that hasn't been cut, hair that has been cut, there it is. Guideline, hair that hasn't been cut, hair that has been cut, there it is. Same thing there, and we'll follow that all the way around just to get a nice, consistent cut. Thank God for the guidelines. All right, half and half, hair that hasn't been cut, hair that has been cut, and boom, we'll make it all even. All right, everything's finally looking like it's coming together. The bottom of the fade, the top of the hair. Now, once again, I did tell you I was gonna clipper over comb that middle section to bring everything together. We still have a few hairs that we have to make even. This is kind of like my technique, still making everything meet. You always want to make sure that you cross-check your work as well. Now, the good thing about a guideline is you could use that north, south, east, and west. That applies any direction that you cut. So I'm just gonna use a thin comb to comb through his hair with the blow dryer, see if there's any loose hair that needs to get out of there. That static electricity that's in hair kind of likes to keep loose hairs or debris stuck to hair that's already been cut. So you want to use that blow dryer to kind of get that out of there. All right, not looking too bad there. You see that hair hanging over the ledge. Just kind of want to bring the bottom and the top together. So I'll clipper over comb that middle section and what's called the parietal ridge. Right in that parietal ridge area, we'll just bring the haircut together. All right, so we have the undercut look there, the drop fade. All right, that looks pretty good there. All right, so we'll just continue on cleaning up the fade. Right now I'm using the Andis Master cordless clipper. I have the one guard on, but the clipper lever all the way open as I get to the top of his hair. The closer I get to the bottom of that region where I use that one, I'll close that lever. And then I'll repeat those same steps with the zero guard. Now, the most important thing, once again, that I want to reiterate is that whatever guard that you use, you just want to make sure that whenever you're going back cleaning up, you just want to use that same guard in those same regions. Now, however, once I'm close to the end of my fade, such as something like this, I'll use my one guard and I'll go all the way up just to kind of clean up my fade. Now, I won't go in there really hard. I'll just kind of go really soft to get any prickly hairs. I won't go too high, but I'll definitely use that one guard to kind of clean up any prickly hairs that I see sticking out of the fade. Now, the Andis Masters cordless clipper, definitely a great clipper, but I also like the Andis cordless trimmers. As you can see here, I'm just doing his lineup nice and light, not going too hard, nice and smooth. Now, I don't want to dig into the hairline. I like to try to keep it as natural as possible. I'll do this on both sides. Try to get a close-up for you there. All right. I'll use the comb, get the hair out of the way. Any hairs that kind of stick over his hairline, I'll just kind of clean that area up. Once again, you don't have to go too hard. There's the undercut look where the hair kind of extends off the top of the hair into the side of the fade. The fade is under the haircut. That's why you kind of get the term undercut. Now there's a little ledge in the back that I like to take off right around there, right around this side that you see here, towards the top of his hair. I just kind of, eventually, I'm gonna clipper over comb that out. Using the edges of the clipper. A lot of times, even though you don't see anything on his forehead, there's little fuzzies, kind of take away from the lineup. Just kind of want to go over the forehead, get those fuzzies off. All right. Now here what you see me doing is using a technique with the thinning shears, kind of taking a little bit of the weight out of his hair. I like to use this technique to add that texturized look. There it is there, kind of feathery look. You always want to make sure that you keep that comb between the client's head and the shears as a safety precaution. Right, now you can kind of do this either halfway or just the tips. In this case, he has really thick hair, so I'm kind of going about halfway on his texturizing. Now, you never want to texturize too much or too often. I like to do it about every, let's say I do it this haircut, it may be another haircut or two before I do it again. Sometimes if you do it too much, you can kind of create a bald. a bald look. So you never want to do it too much. You just kind of want to be real moderate. Here I'm just using that blow dryer to get any loose hair or debris or anything out of there. And then here's the clipper over comb phase that I talked about earlier. I just want to kind of make the fade and the top of his hair blend together. And then this is that transitional phase. Just want to kind of put that comb in there. I know it's kind of hard to see. Try to get a better angle for you. Something like that. There you go. But basically what I'm doing is using that comb as a guard or as a guide to show me how much hair I want to cut. So I'll put that hair on the base of his head. I'll pull out whatever sticks out of that comb. That's what I'm able to cut. So, boom, I gauge what I want to cut and then I'll cut that. I'll pull that hair out, whatever I want to cut, I'll gauge that. You never want to dig that comb in. You always want to just grab a little section and pull out and just cut in a small section. Once again, here just using that Andis Master cordless clipper with the lever just open and close. In the regions where I use the 1, I have that lever all the way open. Wherever I use the 000 or stubble to bulk, that lever's all the way closed. We're getting closer to the end of the haircut, so now I'm just using the Andis cordless trimmer to get any neck hairs. I like to save this part for the end because basically when I open that Sanex strip up, the haircut is pretty much done. So I just want to clean any neck hairs that transition into his fade and vice versa down to the neck area. Just make sure that area is nice and clean. Now I'll use those trimmers in both directions, up and down. Once again, the hair does grow from every direction, so you want to be able to kind of cut in every direction to make sure that you get a clean cut. Okay, everything's looking pretty good there. All right. All right, so there's that drop fade. All right, get any loose hair out of there. Now, normally we would do product. Some clients do product, some don't. Some, if they're going straight home, they'll just go home and shower. Some guys, if they need to go out and, do whatever they need to do, they'll say, get me some product. Hey, there's my guy, that's the before. We'll go right back to that after, that drop fade. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care.